Hello and welcome to the Miraculous Fanworks YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to share some amazing writing prompts that server members have posted in the Writing Prompts channel. Writers, if you need a little break from your current work in progress, or if you need some inspiration, the Writing Prompts channel is sure to give it to you. These prompts have earned enough star reactions in the channel to be shared by all of our social media accounts. So with that in mind, let's get started. Before we begin, do you like how we're doing? Let us know by hitting the like and subscribe buttons below. Comments are also very much appreciated.
Our first prompt is by Elusive Muse. AU, where Emily is still in a coma, but in the hospital instead of a creepy basement garden. Adrian meets Rose, who is also apparently a regular visitor, and the two exchange contact details and become good friends. Adrian is pleasantly surprised to find her in his class months later, when he runs off to enroll himself in public school.
Here's a prompt by DFC Fanfics. Another misunderstanding, this one over phrasing, leads to frustration between Marinette and Adrian. This time, Adrian goes straight to the source to find out why. Almost. Alia, you need to help me. I'm confused again, and... he begins. Look, I've said it before. I can't speak for Marinette. She needs to speak for herself. That's just it. She does. That's not the problem, Adrian snaps back. There's something behind what she says sometimes, and it drives me crazy that I can't figure it out. Or figure her out. Alia stares, wide-eyed, as Adrian begins to rant. It's not like we usually have any problems, he insists. Marinette is... she's probably my favorite person on the planet. She's caring, she's funny, she's brave, she's everything that I want to be. I can't get her out of my mind on any given day. You know that, right? And our good days are great days. But then we stumble over something and things get weird. Adrian closes his eyes, punctuating his words with hand gestures. And I replay every word in my head, trying to figure out what I said or did wrong, how I offended her or scared her or whatever I did. Sometimes I know, most times I don't. Something about me just throws her off, and that's the very last thing I'd ever want to happen. Alia glances over her shoulder briefly, then replies, It sounds to me like you truly care for Marinette. Of course I do. I love... He pauses, startled by his own words, but then he doubles down. I do love Marinette. I know I do. I've just never put it together how much I do. Which is why I need to know why this keeps happening between us, he adds with emphasis. A loud crash close behind him startles him out of his sentence. He turns and sees a pile of school books scattered on the ground where they fell, and a wide-eyed Marinette in their midst.
Our next prompt is by Lou. Gabriel, we are going on a business trip, Adrian. The PR people want you to look more, quote, popular, so you may choose a friend to come with us, but it must be someone I approve of.
Here's a prompt by Sharky. The hardest thing about being the child of Ladybug and Cat Noir is different than Emma expected. When her parents told her their identities, she thought the hardest thing would be worrying about whether they'd make it home safe, or something along those lines. But the hardest thing is actually dealing with her classmates. Her very much teenaged, very much hormonal classmates who find both the city's heroes wildly attractive and talk about it. Often. She has a few teachers who are just as bad. It only gets worse for Emma when her dad starts modeling again and his posters are everywhere!
Our next prompt is by Tiwas. One morning, Adrian wakes up to a gentle, rise and shine, sleepyhead. He opens his eyes and sees his mom. Emily is back, but not just back. As far as Adrian can tell, nobody else remembers her being gone. He's happy, but deeply confused and a little worried. And his father is still distant and acting oddly. Gabriel is freaking out. Emily is back. Natalie doesn't remember her being gone or about the Miraculouses. He didn't get Ladybug and Shanora's Miraculouses and make a wish. It's been 3 days, and he still hasn't worked up the courage to go down to the secret basement and check.
Here's a prompt by Inky Coffee. The class does trust falls in gym class. Adrian catches Marinette, which is super awkward because they weren't partnered for the exercise.
Our next prompt is by Mavi is on a quest. Crackfic. Mr. Pigeon attacks are regular enough that they're forecast into weather reports.
Here's a prompt by Seas of Silver. Adrian's home, the Agreste Manor, was across the road from the building that encircled the Place de Vassage. My French is very bad, I'm sorry. The very building that Marinette's family home and bakery was a part of. So he supposed that she was technically his neighbor, and being neighbors with his friend was a thought that made him feel warm and happy inside. Then he realized that his seat neighbored hers, and that idea only furthered the warm and happy feeling. Some might think him strange for fixating on little details like this, but he had yearned for years to have friends, and now that he had them, he cherished every detail, including the little ways their lives were connected. It brought him joy. He was out for a little jaunt as Cat Noir and saw his friend and neighbor, Marinette, on her balcony contemplating something she held in her hands, speaking to herself. So he decided to drop by. "Good evening, Marinette," he greeted. "Gah!" She whirled around to face him. "Oh, hi, Cat." He looked at what she was fiddling with in her hands. "Did someone give you a flower, Marinette?" For some reason, his stomach clenched at the thought. She shook her head. "It's for someone, actually. The boy I like," she sighed. "I tried to tell him time and time again how I feel, and so I'm trying something a little different. This flower, the agapanthus, has the meanings love and love letters. I thought if I put it with a note, then maybe... but there's no way." He hated seeing her so despondent. "Princess, he'd have to be the luckiest guy in all of Paris to have your love. But he won't know how fortunate he is if you don't tell him." "What if he rejects me?" she asks, her voice a whisper. "Then he'd be the biggest fool in all of Paris," Cat answered. "And if he turns her down, I'm hunting him down and knocking some sense into him." The next morning, he found something on his desk. A note and a flower. An agapanthus flower, specifically. "Oh, I'm the luckiest boy in Paris."
Our next prompt is also by Lou. Marinette forgets to take her spots off after a simple late-night akuma and just drops into her window and goes back to sleep. The only problem is she was so tired she forgot she was hosting a sleepover.
Here's a prompt by DFC Fanfics. Adrian, "You have no idea how much trouble you have caused me. No idea at all." Felix, "I beg your pardon. I tried to save you from being shipped off with..." Adrian, "And that is how you are going to make it up to me." Felix, "Go ahead. What?" Adrian, "I overheard Father planning a date for me this weekend." "With Lila Rossi." Felix, "Ha! You poor sap!" Adrian, "And for some godforsaken reason, Father encouraged her to get closer to me, to lean in for that perfect first kiss and neck until the cows come home," were his exact words. Felix, "And you would rather kiss a live boar's backside, right?" Adrian, "Right. So..." Felix, "What are you suggesting?" Adrian glares. Felix, "Oh, no. No, 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 no." Adrian, "You're so good at impersonating me, right? You'd better be on Saturday."
Our next prompt is by Coffee Banana. In university, Adrian and Marinette are both regulars at a cafe where all the tables have little drawers for people to leave notes in. Stories about their days, poetry, little doodles, whatever. It's always fun for customers to learn a little something about the people who've sat there before them. It turns out that Adrian and Marinette have the same favorite table. They start leaving notes. Marinette signs hers with a little ladybug, and Adrian is convinced the notes must be from Ladybug. He starts responding back with puns and poetry and crudely drawn cat memes. Little by little, Marinette finds herself falling for the boy leaving the notes, and she becomes more suspicious that he might be her partner by the day. Imagine their surprise when she finds Adrian sitting at the table one day, smiling down at a note signed with a tiny ladybug.
Do you have a miraculous writing prompt in mind and want to share it with the fandom? Your prompt could potentially be written by writers on the server and could also be featured on our Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube accounts. Join the Miraculous Fanworks Discord server and drop your prompts into the Writing Prompts channel. The link can be found in the description below. Want exclusive insights into upcoming server events and news? How about access to our VIP channel and a special role on the server? Or maybe a physical copy of a vinyl sticker sent to you each month? Interested? Check out our Patreon for more information, and don't forget to stay miraculous.